Hello everyone, I'm Rashmi Mangla. I'm working as an assistant professor for the BBA department of St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. The subject that I'll be teaching today is Human Rights and Values. We'll be starting Unit 1 of the subject today, and the topics of Unit 1 which we'll be covering today are Introduction to Human Rights, Definition of Human Rights, Characteristics of Human Rights, Indian Perspective of Human Rights, which includes the 6 fundamental rights also. Alright. Now, basically when we talk about human rights, what comes to our mind? Human rights are the rights that all people have by virtue of being human beings. That is the rights which are given to us just because of the fact that we are human beings. And human rights are derived from the inherent dignity of the human person and are defined internationally, nationally and locally by various law-making bodies. There are different law-making bodies who give definitions to the rights on the basis of, the either locally, nationally or internationally. They have different definitions and different law-making bodies who are enforcing them. But basically, these are the rights which belong to us, to each and every person in the world from birth and until their death. And they apply regardless of where one person is from, what that person believes or how he chooses to live his life. It doesn't matter at all, but these rights are available with each of the human beings. Now let's see the definition of human rights. Human rights is defined as the supreme, inherent and inalienable rights to life, to dignity and to self-development. It is concerned with issues in both areas of civil and political rights and economic, social and cultural rights, founded on internationally accepted human rights and obligations. So human rights are defined as the supreme, inherent and inalienable rights to life. Inalienable means the rights which are not capable of being taken away. Nobody can take away those rights from you. Maybe some restrictions can be imposed on them, just seeing the overall situation of the country or in case of any emergency, some restrictions can be put on the right, but they can never be taken away. And they all are concerned with issues in the areas of civil, political, economic, social and cultural rights. We'll be studying all these rights in detail in the upcoming lectures, children. And they are internationally accepted human rights obligations. It's an obligation or a duty, they have to be accepted on international level also. So basically human right is a concept that has been constantly evolving throughout human history. They have been intricately tied to the laws, customs and religions throughout the ages. Since ages we have been following these rights. And as I told you, human rights are relevant to all of us, not just those who face repression or mistreatment, but they belong to each and every one. They can never be taken away, although they can sometimes be restricted. For example, if any person breaks any law, or maybe in the interest of national security, there might be some restrictions that can be put. For example, you can see the situation nowadays. Due to COVID-19, curfew was imposed, lockdown has been imposed, so our right to movement has been restricted. We cannot move freely in any of the places now. So that doesn't mean that they have taken away our right. They have not taken it away, but they have just restricted our right in the context of national security. Alright, so the right can be restricted, but it can never be taken away from us. Then, let's see a few characteristics of the rights. Now, characteristics of human rights are inalienable, as I told you, cannot be taken away. Now, they cannot be taken away this means that we cannot lose them because they are linked to the very fact of human existence. Just because a human exists, that means from his existence itself he has human rights. So nobody can lose it. They are inherent to all human beings. And in particular circumstances, some, though not all, may be suspended or restricted. Alright, just the way I told you just now. They can be restricted maybe for national interest, or if person is found guilty of some crime, his liberty can be taken away, or maybe in case of any national emergency. So things can be changed at that time, but They cannot be taken away from us. They can only be restricted for a certain period of time. Then these are fundamental rights. Everybody should have them. These are made for each and every human being. We cannot discriminate anyone, and we cannot tell that this person will not have any right, because these rights belong to each and every human being. Just from the human existence itself, these rights are given to each and every person. Then legally protected. The human rights are protected by law. They have judicial enforcements, and violation of these laws can lead to legal action. If we violate the laws, if we do not follow them, then action can be taken against us legally. Then no discrimination. These are inherent in all human beings without any discrimination. That means we cannot discriminate any person on the basis of religion, region, language, culture, caste, gender, or any other context. We cannot discriminate anybody. Then these are universal. Human rights are applicable everywhere, every time, for everyone. Be it any individual, human rights are applicable to each of them, be it in any state, any country, or any place. So they are universal. These are interdependent. Now, interdependent means that they can be fully enjoyed when all the rights are allowed to us. Now, for example, let's see the situation nowadays. We have rest of the other rights, but we do not have the right to movement. Just because of COVID-19, we all are sitting at home in the lockdown situation, isn't it? So, are we able to fully enjoy our rights? Yes, we can eat anything. Yes, we can do anything. But can we move around freely? No. So, everybody is in a sense of stress, and everybody is not mentally very happy just because of the reason that we are locked up in our homes. So, that means all these rights are interdependent, and until and unless we have all the rights given to us, we cannot fully enjoy them. Alright? Next is egalitarianism. Now, when we say these rights are egalitarian, or we say egalitarianism, it says that egalitarian basically means that believing or based on the principle that all people are equal and they deserve equal rights and opportunities. This is what is the meaning of egalitarianism. Now, when we say that these rights are egalitarian, we say that it says that all humans are equal in fundamental worth or social status. All the people are equal, and human right laws also say that human beings have same dignity on the society. They all should be treated equally, and they should be given equal rights and opportunities. Alright? So these are the characteristics of human rights. Now, human rights can be seen from Indian perspective also and global perspective also. In today's lecture, we'll be covering the Indian perspective only. Now, according to Constitution of India, Part 3 and Part 4 provide provisions for human rights in India. The rights and fundamental rights are sections of the Constitution of India that provides people with their rights. So, in the Constitution of India, in few sections, rights and fundamental rights are mentioned, which are provided to each of the people. Alright? These fundamental rights are considered as basic human rights of all citizens, irrespective of their gender, caste, religion, or creed. Now, these fundamental rights, they are the basic rights which each and every citizen possess, and irrespective of any of the fact, nobody can be discriminated on the basis of gender, caste, religion, or creed, or etc., or any other basis. So, fundamental rights are possessed with each and every human being. Now, there are 6 fundamental rights in India, which are right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, and right to constitutional remedies. When we see the first one, right to equality. Right to equality ensures equal rights for all the citizens, that each of the citizens have equal rights. It prohibits inequality on the basis of caste, religion, place of birth, race, or gender, etc. That means we cannot treat anyone unequally or unequally on the basis of any of the following context. It also ensures equality of opportunity in matters of public employment and prevents the state from discriminating against anyone in matters of employment on the grounds only of religion, race, caste, place of birth, place of residence, or any of that. That means we cannot discriminate any of the people on any of the basis, be it public employment, be it giving any opportunity, or be it any other matter. No one can be discriminated, and everybody has to be treated equally. Alright, because everyone possess the right to equality. The next one is right to freedom. Now this is the right, which is not available with us in the present situation that we are facing in the terms of COVID-19. Right to freedom provides us with various rights. Now, and one of them that we have is freedom of movement. That is the main right which we are not able to follow these days, isn't it? We cannot practice that right of ours, and that is why we are just sitting at our homes. So, alright. Anyways, apart from freedom of movement, there are many other rights of freedom. Let's see them. So, these rights are freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of assembly without arms, freedom of movement through the territory of a country, freedom of association, freedom to practice any profession, freedom to reside in any part of the country. However, these rights have their own restrictions. We have been given all these rights to freedom. That means we have freedom to speech, freedom to move, freedom to express ourselves, freedom to associate, freedom to practice any profession. But each of these rights have certain restrictions of their own. That means even if we wish to reside in any part of the country, but there are some states which require special provisions, isn't it? So again, these rights have certain restrictions which are imposed on them. Then right against exploitation. Right against exploitation condemns human trafficking, child labor, forced labor, and making it an offense. That means it prohibits all these things. We cannot do human trafficking, we cannot put any child for work, we cannot forcibly tell anybody to do labor work. All this is an offense which is punishable by law, and also prohibit any act of compelling a person to work without wages, where he was legally entitled not to work. If any person is entitled not to work, and if we forcibly let him work, and that too without wages, or to receive remuneration of it also, then all these come under right against exploitation. Unless it is for the public purpose, like community service or NGO work. If it is community service or NGO work, then we can consider it. Otherwise, if any person is forced to work legally or illegally, without wages or with wages, illegally with wages and legally without wages, then all these come under right against exploitation. Now, right to freedom of religion. Now, right to freedom of religion basically, guarantees us or gives us an opportunity to preach, practice, or propagate any religion of our choice. It guarantees us religious freedom mainly, that we can follow any religion, whichever we feel like. It gives us religious freedom and ensures secular states in India. It says that, the constitution basically says that the states should treat all religions equally. All the religions should be treated equally. Nobody should have any bias against any religion, and no state has an official religion, and किसी भी state का कोई एक official religion नहीं होना चाहिए. Everybody has to treat all the religions equally. Alright? Then next are cultural and educational rights. Cultural and educational rights protect rights of cultural, religious, and linguistic minorities by enabling them to conserve their heritage and protect them against discrimination. Minorities can conserve, वो अपनी heritage बचा सकते हैं, and they can protect them against discrimination, that nobody should discriminate them or the community on the basis of any of the facts. Then educational rights ensure education for everyone, irrespective of caste, gender, religion, age, etc. That means everybody has the right to be educated, and no one can be discriminated on any of the basis. Then last but not the least, right to constitutional remedies. Right to constitutional remedies ensures the citizens to go to the Supreme Court of India to ask for enforcement or protection against violation of their fundamental rights. So, right to constitutional remedies ensures citizens that they can go to Supreme Court of India to ask for protection if their rights are being violated. Alright, they are not being allowed to follow their rights, then they can go to the Supreme Court and they can ask for the protection of their right. And the Supreme Court has the jurisdiction, that means it covers the whole fact, to enforce fundamental right even against private bodies, and in case of any violation, if anybody is violating any right, award compensation as well as to the affected individual. That if any person's rights have been violated, then he has got the Supreme Court can order compensation to that affected individual by maybe the organization or by the people who has violated his law. Alright, so these are the fundamental rights and they all are covered under Indian perspective. In our next class, we will be discussing the concept of international or global perspective. Stay tuned for the next lecture. Now there are some questions that have to be done by you people. State the definition and characteristic of human rights. Explain in detail the Indian perspective of human rights. State the 6 fundamental rights. You can note down these questions. We're done for today, children. In case you have any doubts, we can connect via Google Meet. Thank you, everyone.